Imagine for a moment that you are a detective investigating a mystery that has puzzled humanity for centuries. The mystery: how did our planet Earth come to be? And how did all the plants and animals, including humans, find their place on it? This might sound like a simple question, but it's far from it. For a long time, the answer was clear and straightforward. God created the world in 6 days, just as the Bible said. But in the 18th century, a French naturalist named Georges Louis Leclerc, Comte de Buffon, decided to dig deeper and challenge this ancient belief. His findings would shake the foundations of science and theology, and change the way we understand our world forever. Buffon was not satisfied with the traditional explanations. He was curious and adventurous, always eager to explore new ideas. He believed that to understand the history of plants and animals, we needed to first understand the history of the Earth itself. So he set out to explain how the Earth came into being, and his journey led him to some bold and controversial conclusions. Buffon was inspired by Sir Isaac Newton, one of the greatest scientists of all time. Newton had suggested that the 6 planets in our solar system, all revolving in the same plane and direction, must have been created by God. But Buffon wanted to find a natural explanation. He observed that comets occasionally collide with the sun, and speculated that one such collision must have knocked off fragments of the sun, which then came together to form the planets. These fragments, he believed, were the building blocks of our Earth. But how long did it take for the Earth to cool down and become habitable? This was a crucial question, and Buffon was determined to find the answer. He conducted a series of experiments in his own foundry, casting small globes and measuring how long it took for them to cool down. He then extrapolated these results to estimate the cooling time for a globe the size of the Earth. His calculations suggested that the Earth was much older than previously thought, around 74,832 years, far more than the 6,000 years claimed by Archbishop Usher. This was a revolutionary idea. If the Earth was that old, it meant that the history of the planet and all its living creatures was much longer and more complex than anyone had imagined. Buffon proposed that the Earth went through several epochs, each marked by significant changes. In the first epoch, the Earth and the planets took shape. In the second epoch, the great mountain ranges were formed. In the third epoch, the Earth cooled and the oceans were formed, giving rise to marine life. In the fourth epoch, volcanic eruptions and earthquakes reshaped the land. In the fifth epoch, land animals appeared. In the sixth epoch, the continents separated and took their current shapes. Finally, in the seventh epoch, humans appeared, marking the beginning of a new era of progress and development. Buffon's ideas were not just about the age of the Earth. They also challenged the traditional view that the Earth and all its creatures were created in their final forms. Instead, he proposed that the Earth and its inhabitants were constantly changing and evolving. This was a radical departure from the prevailing belief that the world was static and unchanging. Buffon's theory suggested that the Earth was a dynamic and evolving system, where new species could emerge and old ones could become extinct. One of the key implications of Buffon's work was that it opened the door to the idea of evolution. If the Earth was much older than previously thought, and if species could change over time, then it was possible that all living things, including humans, had evolved from simpler forms. This idea would later be developed by Charles Darwin, who proposed the theory of natural selection to explain how species evolve over time. Buffon's theories were not without controversy. His ideas challenged the authority of the Church and the traditional interpretation of the Bible. In 1749, when the first volume of his natural history was published, a committee of the theology faculty at the University of Paris demanded that he clarify certain passages. To avoid censure, Buffon wrote a letter stating that he abandoned any views that contradicted the biblical account of creation. However, he continued to publish his ideas, and his work eventually gained widespread recognition and influence. But Buffon was not the only one who was curious about the Earth's history. Another scientist, Nicolaus Steno, had made significant contributions to the field of geology in the 17th century. Steno was a Danish anatomist and geologist who made groundbreaking discoveries about the formation of fossils and the layers of rock in the Earth's crust. He proposed that the layers of rock, or strata, were formed over time by the deposition of sediment in water. This idea provided a new way of understanding the Earth's geological history and laid the foundation for modern geology. Steno's work was particularly important because it showed that the Earth's history was recorded in the layers of rock. By studying these layers, scientists could learn about the past and how the Earth had changed over time. However, Steno's ideas were also constrained by the prevailing belief that the Earth was only a few thousand years old. To fit his observations into this short timescale, he had to make some assumptions that are now known to be incorrect. For example, he believed that the large fossil bones found in Italy belonged to the elephants of Hannibal's army, rather than to prehistoric animals. Despite these limitations, Steno's work paved the way for future scientists like Buffon to explore the Earth's history in more depth. Buffon's extension of time and his focus on the Earth as a dynamic system provided a new framework for understanding the natural world. He opened the door to a world of change and progress, where the Earth and its inhabitants were not fixed and unchanging, but constantly evolving. The implications of Buffon's work were far-reaching. By challenging the traditional view of the Earth and its history, he laid the groundwork for the development of modern biology and geology. His ideas influenced future scientists and thinkers, including Charles Darwin, who would build on Buffon's work to develop the theory of evolution. Buffon's legacy is a testament to the power of curiosity and the importance of questioning accepted beliefs. In conclusion, Buffon's work was a turning point in the history of science. He challenged the traditional view of the Earth and its history, opening up new possibilities for understanding the natural world. His ideas about the Earth's age and the dynamic nature of the planet and its inhabitants laid the foundation for the development of modern biology and geology. By extending the timeline of Earth's history, Buffon provided a new framework for understanding the past and the present, and he opened the door to a future of endless possibilities. The world, as Buffon saw it, was not a static and unchanging place, but a dynamic and evolving system, full of wonder and mystery. And that is a perspective that continues to inspire and guide scientists and thinkers to this day.